Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. The S&P 500 and markets more broadly have really been rising in the last 5 days. Just look at this massive gain that we've seen over the 5-day period. As a matter of fact, we're up nearly 5% in the last week. The past month, nearly up 9%. We are seeing quite a nice recovery here on the S&P 500, and other market indexes are seeing similar recoveries. This all comes with some actual good news. This is related to the tariffs. And this is related to the US and China. We are seeing the US and China slashing their tariffs in a trade war de-escalation. Now in short, China will still face an extra 30% in tariffs, the lowest 20% levies cast as a punishment for China's involvement in fentanyl imports, and 10% as a floor of the Liberation Day, on top of the 10% tariffs from essentially the Biden era. So, 30%, significantly less than what we've seen previously. As many of you guys have known before, in recent weeks we've seen tariffs of over 100%, which were essentially creating an embargo on goods coming from the United States. People are simply not going to be able to pay over 100% on a product. It just does not make any sense. And again, these implications are not just for the US, but for every other country across the world. Then when we're talking about the world's second and the world's first biggest economies, it obviously becomes a lot more paramount and a lot more important. Now the market has responded quite well. We are seeing shares leaping in this relief. And the question is the trade war now over? Are the two sides now back on side? Have they blinked? And can globalization continue as it had before? Now this, perhaps, remains to be seen. We don't know what this man's going to do next, right? And we don't know what the next sign is going to be. However, this certainly is a good change, right? One thing is for sure, and that is that this is a nice change. Again, even if we were to assume this is a permanent truce rather than a suspended one, it still leaves tariffs of considerably higher than they were last year. China faces higher than most countries. If you add on the tariffs that we're talking about, potentially as much as 40%, whilst other countries can range between 8 and 14% according to Capital Economics. In other words, the US is still implementing an economic policy designed to increase the cost of doing business with China, even if it no longer attempts to prevent it altogether. The fact that last week's trade agreement with the UK contains clauses seemingly designed to encourage trade barriers against China for reasons of security reinforces this suspicion. The question is, what is going to come next? And again, the question is, are things going to go back to where they were previously? Now it does look like this is still going to increase the price of Chinese goods somewhat, but it is perhaps an important retracement of policies that we've seen in recent weeks. And again, markets are reacting very, very nicely to this. Let's hope that we can see things continue. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments, guys. Thank you so much for your time. If you enjoyed the video, do make sure to give us a like and subscribe, and I do hope I'll see you in another one soon. Goodbye for now.